Welcome to The Winning Edge, the podcast where champions are built and legacies are made. I'm Leonard Wheeler, former NFL player turned entrepreneur of 24 years and co-executive director of the NFL Legends community. After years of being on the field, I've learned that the real game starts when the stadium lights go out. This show is your all-access pass to the mindset, strategies, and leadership lessons that fuel success beyond sports. Each week, we will dive into what it truly takes to win in business, leadership, and life. We'll discuss how elite athletes, game-changing entrepreneurs, and industry leaders turn discipline into dominance and setbacks into comebacks. The next play is yours. Welcome back, everybody, to the Winning Edge podcast, where we dive deeply into what it takes to lead, inspire, and leave a legacy. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most intense and transformative weeks in a young football player's life, the NFL Combine. But we're not just talking about the 40-yard dash or bench press reps or doing drills. We're talking about mentorship, leadership, and how legends, veterans in the game can help shape the next generation of NFL stars. This episode is personal for me in a lot of different ways. For the past 9 years, I've had the privilege since 2016 to be a mentor on behalf of the NFL Legends community. But also I had an experience at the NFL Combine in 1992. And those experiences continues to remind me that success isn't just about speed or strength. It's about character, mindset, and wisdom that is passed down from those who have been through the fire. And I remember hearing about people who continue to go through the fire. So what does it take to be a mentor at the Combine? What does it really mean? How do we help these young men navigate one of the most significant tests or times in their careers? And more importantly, how can you become a mentor right where you are? We're going to talk about all of those things as we continue to work through this episode. So what does it mean? What does being a mentor at the NFL Combine mean? First of all, what is a mentor? We hear it, it's such a cliche. It's such cliche at times because we hear it all the time. Get a mentor, talk to a mentor. Do you have a mentor? Let's talk about what a mentor is. At its core, a mentor is a trusted guide, advisor, and supporter who helps someone navigate their personal or professional journey. What does a mentor do? A mentor shares wisdom, experience, and insight to help another person, often called a mentee or protege, grow or make informed decisions and avoid common pitfalls. Can you imagine if we didn't have sometimes our parents or older siblings or even younger siblings or aunts and uncles who continue to pour into our lives and play that mentor role? I think sometimes we downplay the significance of people in our lives that have been or played the role as mentors. I know my entire life I had mentors growing up, people like Slob Mayfield, Daniel Mayfield, my dad, my mom. I mean, Willie Fred. I remember mentors my entire life growing up that helped me avoid common pitfalls. I remember coming home from college and guys like Reese Mayfield who looked at me and like, hey, what are you doing home? And I'm like, hey, man, we're home from school. He's like, okay, don't let me see you slacking off around here. Those are mentors. Let's talk about a simple breakdown into what a mentor does. A mentor advises, offers knowledge, feedback, and perspective based on their own experiences. Now, being a former NFL player, being a legend, I'm able to offer these players some of my experience, not just my experience of me being there, but the experience from other people that I play with that's also been there. Let's talk about how it supports. It provides encouragement, emotional support, and motivation during challenges and successes. But what does it do in terms of challenging you, though? It pushes the mentee to step outside of their comfort zone and strive for personal and professional excellence. Gosh, do you hear that? It pushes the mentee to step outside of their comfort zone. What does that mean? We all have this place of complacency that exists, this place of comfort that exists. And if we don't have someone that's pushing us out of the nest, that's pushing us out of that place of comfort to strive for professional and personal excellence, sometimes we don't reach it because we don't want to be challenged. We can't accept that next level of accountability. But what does it model in terms of behavior? It demonstrates the values, work ethic, and character traits the mentee can learn from and apply. So what does that mean? If I don't have those traits, it's hard for me to expect my mentee to exude those traits. If I'm not helping them to have those traits, and if they don't exist within me, it's hard for me to give you what I don't have. If I'm an orange tree, I cannot provide you apples. So I'm going to have to continue to be a learner in order for me, or someone that reads, in order for me to demonstrate the values that I want you to have. So let's talk about just in the context of the NFL Combine. For an example, a mentor is someone who's been through the process and helps younger players prepare mentally, emotionally, and professionally for one of the most significant moments in their career. Now, the NFL only sends 14 mentors from different groups of expertise to the combine as mentors. But the scouting combine is, I would say, is probably one of the most pivotal events in the football world. It's one of the most pivotal events in the football world. Think about it. You have the top college football players, up to 300 of them, meeting at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. You have all the NFL, you have all 32 NFL teams represented. You have the NFL owners represented. You have the NFL scouts represented. You have the NFL coaches not just representing, but also teaching the drills. Think about the pressure that's exuding through the pores of these players at the NFL Combine. So you have up to 300 prospects that make the cut out of thousands and thousands of NFL potential prospects around the world. You have only 300 that are invited to this exclusive event called the NFL Combine. So let me paint the picture again. The room is packed. Owners, general managers, head coaches, scouts, mentors, presidents. I mean, you have people from all walks of life when it comes to the NFL team. It's a melting pot of the future stars, seasoned veterans, decision makers looking for the next franchise player, for the next Hall of Famer. They all exist in the stadium at the same time. That's amazing. But let's talk about the role of a mentor and how it's structured. Now, when Tracy Perlman and Troy Vincent created the Legends community, now over almost going on 11 years, 12 years, as a mentor at the NFL Combine, my job is to serve as a sounding board, a guide, a source of calm amid the pressure cooker these young men find themselves in. Because let me just tell you, it's a pressure cooker at times. Now, I'm one of the handful of mentors selected to help bridge the gap between college and professional levels. So you have college that you come from to where they're not standout players. Every college player is not a standout player. Every NFL player was a standout player at their college. So each mentor works their own groups of players to where it depends on the size of the group. Sometimes I work with the corners. Some years I work with the safeties. We walk with them through different steps, from orientation to the final day of testing on the field, offering guidance and preparation, mindset, professionalism. It's about helping them guide both the lights on the field and the noise off the field, because the lights on the field, one thing, the noise off the field is another thing, because you have one that's a distraction off the field. Lights can be a distraction based on where the ball is on the field. So we are helping them to navigate both the lights on the field and the noise off the field. But you know what? It's not just about, okay, let me repeat this. It's not just about being an NFL player or being a football player. I think so many people have this perspective or perception that NFL players are just playing football. No, let's talk about what happens at the combine and kind of what's really going on behind the scenes. Now, let's go beyond the high profile physical drills of the 40-yard dash, vertical jump, broad jump, field events, and bench press. Players undergo extensive cognitive placement testing. Cognitive placement testing, which means you cannot be a dummy. Okay? We are thinkers. We are no different than you are. We went to college, we went to class, we studied, we took tests. I know some of you might be like, well, what does all of that mean? These assessments measure mental acuity, football IQ, decision-making speed, and emotional intelligence. Listen, our playbooks sometimes are this big. And it's not just drawing pictures and crayons and with crayons and saying, this is where you go. It is about learning the mental acuity and the football IQ of breaking down plays. I can call out some plays right now. You would have no idea what I'm talking about, because it's not on that level. It's on a different level. Decision-making speed. Are you kidding me? When you're on the field, I need to see how fast can you make a decision? How fast can you pivot? Think about this. This is what you're doing every day in your own life. You're learning how to pivot. How fast can you do that? How do you leave the emotional intelligence? How do making important decisions, crucial decisions, critical decisions? Because that's what's happening. How many of you have looked at an NFL game? You see when you have gaps in the defense because the players are breaking down for some reason, or gaps in the offense where the receiver ran the wrong route, or the quarterback threw to the wrong person. Whatever the case is, we all have to lead with emotional intelligence, quick decision-making speed, and mental acuity. Tools like the Wonderlic test have traditionally been used at the combine, but now teams leverage more advanced data, more data-driven evaluations. Yeah, teams, including owners and GMs, they want access to these results because they need to know, who can I invest my hard-earned money into, and who will study to show me that they are willing to be a great NFL prospect. Man, can you imagine having to go to work and your boss looks at you and say, you know what? I believe in you. Not only do I need for you to give me a resume, but I need for you to take this IQ test. I need for you to take this mental acuity test. You know what? I need for you to run a 40-yard dash. And by the way, before you run the 40-yard dash, I need for you to do some jumps. By the way, before you do the jumps, I need to see how flexible you are, to see if you can even reach behind your back. Oh, by the way, before you do that, I need for you to just kind of visit with some of my owners to do an interview to see if you're really prepared for this moment. So while Blazing 40-yard dash might grab the headlines, teams want to know if a player can process information quickly and thrive under pressure on Sundays. What if your boss came to you and said to you, I need for you to not just know the X's and O's, but I need for you to know this entire playbook. But I need to know what type of person you're going to be 5 years, 10 years from now if I can depend on you. So think of the NFL playbook as a football version of cramming for the SATs. Only the stakes are millions of dollars and your career is on the line. While many assume it's diagrams and, like I said, pictures of plays, the reality is much more profound. The playbook is it's a dense book of terminology, schemes, protections, reads, adjustments. Players must digest complex information quickly and translate it to on the field in a split second. So as mentors, we help demystify these concepts and encourage learning strategies that stick. We're there but our presence sometimes needs to be a reminder that it's okay and a reminder that, hey, man, you're not alone. But as a reminder that the league cares about you on and off the field. So, how do we elevate the next generation? How do we do that? So, our role as mentors go beyond the X's and O's, as I just stated. It's about helping these young men surpass even what we're capable of doing in our careers. Gosh, let me repeat that. How do we help people go beyond where we are? It's hard to do that if you're walking into being a mentor with envy. It's walking in being a mentor that is willing to serve. It's about helping these young men surpass even what you were capable of doing in your own career. We equip them with wisdom, perspective, and life lessons. Emphasizing character, resilience, professionalism, we pray over them. That's right. We remind them that God has given you this gift. This gift. Your parents and coaches and mentors have invested in you to be something bigger than where you are or more than where you are right now. The goal is to prepare them to succeed in the league and thrive beyond it. Not just to thrive in the NFL, but to thrive beyond the game. What about you? How are you thriving beyond your game? We don't want them to just be successful on the field. These are guys that a lot of times we don't know them. We have heard of them, but we get to know them. We get to know their character. We get to hear their voice. We get to hear the hunger, and we get to pour into them all that we have in us to pour. But let's talk about the vulnerability of the players and the vibe in the room. You'd be surprised how much vulnerability is in the air, despite the bravado and which is often associated with football. Many of these guys are dealing with real anxiety, fear of the unknown, fear of failure, and I think sometimes the pressure of representing the high school, the pressure of representing the families, the colleges, the universities, the communities. And so some are just wide-eyed and nervous when others come in laser focused and ready. And I'm not saying even the ones who are wide-eyed and nervous that they're not ready. We all need a different perspective. We all sometimes need a reminder that, hey, one of the things that I love to remind them of is that, and this is a hard truth, that the NFL wants them, but the NFL doesn't need them. Now, let me repeat that. The NFL needs players because without the players, there's no league. But what we make sure that happens is that we come into the league with humility and knowing that the NFL can continue on without me, Leonard Wheeler. I was reminded of that, being injured on the football field with the blown out ACL, is that NFL went on. So that's what we remind our players. is that the NFL will continue to move on without you. So why not come into it laser focused and ready, but with an attitude of being a teammate, with the attitude of being somewhat of a mentor yourself that's ready to continue to pour into other people. So as mentors, we help calm their nerves, refocus their mindsets, reset, and remind them to be authentic and to show the league the best version of themselves. So after the combine, what's next? I mean, what's next? Once the light dims on the NFL combine, because it does, everybody goes through the NFL combine, the journey is far from over. The players head back to the university for pro days, which serve as a second chance to impress scouts, coaches, executives who may have missed them in Indianapolis. Or in my case, when I was at the combine, I blew out my hamstring on the 40-yard dash. But I still had to continue to do the broad jump and I did the vertical jump. But I had a blown out hamstring. So the pro day serves as another opportunity to show and perform in a more familiar environment. It gives them a little, it probably, I would say it kind of offers more of a customized setting where athletes can run drills tailored to their positions and often perform in front of their specific teams that have probably shown the most interest. Everybody usually doesn't show up at a pro day based on the level of the prospect. So this is where they fine tune their performance. They're armed with feedback and lessons from the combine. So as mentors, we often stay connected for years. I know sometimes I connect with players that I worked with in 2016, 17 that continue to go on and be great players. So we often stay connected, offering continued guidance as we prepare for those pro days, private workouts, and team interviews leading up to the NFL draft. And this year, as you know, the NFL draft will be in Green Bay. And so what are some final thoughts? Because I want to leave you with some final thoughts because there's so much that I can share with you about the combine and behind the scenes of the combine, the way the players have to, they're prospects. And so as a prospect, we have to make sure, I think, that we are stepping up to the plate and that we're offering something that is more than just our physical abilities, but our cognitive and the way that we can think. The NFL Combine is about more than numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about the heart and navigating one of the most intense moments of these young men's lives. And it's really is helping them unlock their potential and handle adversity with grace. That's a true privilege, I believe, of this role. So this role is about helping unlock the potential and handle adversity with grace. And I believe that is a privilege for us to be mentors. So I want to challenge you. Who are you mentoring? Whether it's in your workplace, your community, your family, or your team, there's always someone coming behind you who can benefit from your experience, wisdom, and time. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to need all the answers. What you need is a willingness to show up, to listen, to encourage, to guide. The NFL Combine reminds me every year that behind every successful player is someone who invested in them, someone who mentored them through uncertainty, pressure, and growth. I know I had some great mentors like Coach Walker, Coach Cox, great mentors in high school, great mentors in college like Coach Blakeney, Coach Fleetwood, Coach Joe Johnson. And so I had some great mentors, but I had friends who also acted as mentors. Even now, I have great mentors like Reggie Rice, great friends that continue to pour in my lives like Troy Benson or Mike Rucker, great mentors who continue to feed me like a Rich Campy, my wife, Kim, our kids, Lindsay, Connor, and Chase, who continues to remind me that there's something out there more than just me doing something. People like Tracy Perlman, who continues to kind of be that sister in my life and gives me a hard time because she's been in the league for over 33 years. I had to get that in, Tracy. I'm sorry. But anyway, be that person. Step up and pour into someone's life. Help them become who they were created to be. And in the process, I promise you, you will grow too. If this resonated with you, I challenge you to identify one person this week. If this resonated, I challenge you to identify one person this week who could use your mentorship. Then take action, reach out, and offer your support and become a difference maker. And when you do, let us know and we'll shout you out maybe on the next episode. This has been great for me. I love mentoring. I love the role that I believe the Father has given me and the NFL has created for so many of us to pour into the lives. People like John Randall and Chad Pennington, they continue to pour into the lives. Orlando Pace and Bobby Taylor. And the list can go on and on. And, they just continue to pour into the lives of these young players. Tony Richardson, who played in the NFL for 100 years. No, but he really did play in the NFL for like 18 years. So it was a long time, Tony. Sorry to give you a hard time, but it was a long time. And then people like Chris Carter will come and mentor. John Abraham, like I said, Orlando Pace. And so there are a lot of guys, Will Shields, who continues to be that voice of reason. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in today and listening. I appreciate you more and more and more than you'll ever know, because without you, there's no me. So I appreciate you and God bless you. See you on the next episode. Thank you for tuning in and listening to this week's episode of The Winning Edge. You can write in and ask your questions on my Instagram page at Leonard Wheeler 7, and I will address your questions on an upcoming episode. If this episode helped you, I would love for you to share it with your friends, colleagues, and family. Share the episode with those that you feel can benefit from it. You can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, X, and LinkedIn, found in the show notes. I would greatly appreciate it if you would rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Subscribe now and let's build your legacy.